Here's your wrestling news for July 28th, 2022. And we're kicking off today with Raw, as after Seth Rollins attacked Riddle after the main event, WWE announced that the original Bro is injured and the match between the two scheduled for SummerSlam has been postponed. The match was expected to be a show stealer, with both men being prominently featured this year, but what's the real reason for this match being rescheduled? Contrary to what WWE is saying, this postponement isn't due to an injury, despite WWE's report that Rollins' curb stomp on the steel steps resulted in Riddle suffering a brachial plexus injury, more commonly known as a stinger. Sean Ross Sapp for Fightful Select reported that the injury was added to the storyline due to creative adjustments, and that both men were told this on Monday. WWE has said that the match is postponed, and Sapp notes that it's expected to take place at Clash at the Castle on September 3rd, but nothing seems certain at the moment. Rollins is still expected to travel to Nashville, the home of SummerSlam 2022, to fulfill media obligations scheduled for this Friday, despite the Riddle match being off. On Twitter, Rollins apologized to the fans who had paid to attend SummerSlam to see him, and his tweet didn't exactly seem like a heel. His tweet certainly suggests that he is disappointed by having no match at SummerSlam, which is understandable given that it's the second biggest show of the year, with nearly 70,000 fans in attendance. Rollins won't face Riddle this Saturday at SummerSlam, but he is expected to appear, as it's unlikely WWE will leave one of its biggest stars, especially in a show as significant as the first premium live event of the post-Vince McMahon era. As for what Rollins will do, that's impossible to say, but all we know is that he won't be facing Riddle this Saturday. In his tweet, Rollins made it clear that he's not exactly thrilled to be missing the biggest party of the summer, and Triple H has taken notice. In response to Rollins, the game said, "I hear you," and with the head of creative and talent relations also being a mentor to the former Universal Champion, we'll have to see what's in store for Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. There's no word yet on what the WWE will have Rollins do at SummerSlam, but one idea is being spread by the WWE Universe. On Twitter, fans began speculation as to what will happen with the Monday Night Messiah, and unquestionably the most popular idea was for Rollins to be added to the main event. Fans rallied Triple H to make Roman Reigns vs. Brock Lesnar a triple threat including Rollins, all for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. It certainly makes a lot of sense as Rollins, Lesnar, and Reigns have a history dating all the way back to WrestleMania 31 in 2015. Whatever Triple H decides, he's already earned praise for publicly addressing Rollins' frustrations with his SummerSlam match being postponed, something that wouldn't have happened under the previous regime. Time will tell if Rollins gets added to the main event, which for now will see Reigns and Lesnar face off in a last man standing match, but WWE will no doubt have something planned for the talented superstar. Now with Vince McMahon's retirement, there's been plenty of speculation of AEW stars jumping to WWE, believing that they'd have a better chance in this new post-Vince era of the industry. McMahon's quirks are the reason many ex-WWE superstars left for AEW, and now Tony Khan himself has weighed in. Appearing on SiriusXM Busted Open Radio, Khan warned fans against thinking the landscape of wrestling will suddenly change, pointing out that many AEW stars have years left on their contracts. Khan went on to explain that a mass exodus of AEW wrestlers to WWE was pretty much impossible, saying, "There are a lot of changes in pro wrestling. I think it's going to be really positive for the fans overall. I'm a little amused that changes in the competition, people think it's going to magically change the landscape. Some of these accounts, Twitter can be a fun place to follow, but some of the narratives I've seen every day for the last week are really amusing to me. I've got people signed here for 5 years, and people think that just because the CEO, chairman, head of creative, those people switched in the competition, people I have 5-year contracts with are magically going to switch teams? Good luck with that. Adam Cole is signed until 2027 now. I wouldn't expect to see him going anywhere anytime soon. Malachi Black has almost 5 years left on his deal. I wouldn't expect him going anywhere anytime soon. Just because these guys had some success under a previous administration somewhere else, they're not magically going to be going anywhere. Those are two people I like just as examples of people who have worked under the previous administration. I'm very amused by that. That's a narrative I see so-called wrestling writers pushing every day. It's pretty amusing. Tony Khan has never been afraid to tease WWE stars coming to AEW, but he isn't enjoying the shoe being on the other foot. Wisely, Khan has kept his top stars in secure positions in AEW, And while there might be a few who do jump, the AEW president finds the idea that anyone thinking they'll do better in WWE very amusing. This week's AEW Dynamite saw Bryan Danielson in action once more in his first match back from injury. The former WWE World Champion had been out with a suspected concussion, and while he's thankfully wrestling again, Dynamite didn't go as Danielson had hoped. The match with Daniel Garcia was much more violent than expected, with Danielson suffering a head wound early on, though the American Dragon seemed poised to win until his foot got caught in the ringside banner under the bottom rope. This gave Garcia enough time to put Bryan in a submission hold, and in a surprising upset, it was the Jericho Appreciation Society member who got the win, with Danielson passing out in the hold. It was later revealed that Danielson's leg was caught not by the banner, but by fellow JAS member Jake Hager, who had been hidden under the ring. Garcia's upset win over the veteran is expected to have major implications in the feud between the JAS and the Blackpool Combat Club, as very few expected Danielson to lose his first match back from injury. Now, it's been over 2 months since WWE suspended Sasha Banks and Naomi following their walkout during the May 16th edition of Raw. Addressing their actions on TV, WWE had Michael Cole say that the pair had been unprofessional with their actions, adding that they have let the fans down. These lines caused serious backlash at WWE, as fans didn't appreciate the public ways WWE was dealing with the matter, and it's not just the fans who are unhappy. Speaking on the Absolute Geek podcast, AEW World Champion CM Punk shared his thoughts about the walkout and how the pair have been treated much differently to Brock Lesnar, who walked out on last Friday's SmackDown. Oh boy, people are gonna be real mad about this, but Mercedes, Sasha Banks, and Trinity, Naomi, leave. They announce on SmackDown that, gosh darn, we're so disappointed in them, they really let our fans down. Brock splits, comes back obviously, I think he worked the show. Where's Michael Cole saying, Brock Lesnar really let these fans down? I walked out, they went on TV and called me a quitter. What's changed? What's the difference? You're going to attack these two poor women who had enough and walked. They have bigger balls than everybody there. What changed? There's nothing much that has changed. There's people that talk about it and people that do it. The people who lick the boots and have the audacity to say that about those two women, cowards and bootlickers. This ridiculous. With Triple H and Stephanie McMahon now running things, there is optimism among some that Banks and Naomi will return, as their beef was mostly with Vince McMahon, but after being embarrassed by WWE on national TV, who knows when, if ever, either woman will be back. Each week, Riddle wrestles in his bare feet, but enters the ring wearing flip-flops. Riddle kicking his flip-flops off is always a fun part of his entrance, but this spot doesn't always go as hoped. While speaking to the appropriately named Outkick 360, Riddle recalled a time when he kicked his flip-flops off during an NXT live event. Riddle explained that due to the smaller crowd, the fans are closer to the ring, and when he kicked his flip-flops off, one crashed on an elderly woman and broke her glasses. An incredibly apologetic Riddle said he felt bad as the woman wasn't able to watch his match and let her keep the shoes that did the damage, despite WWE security usually collecting the shoes from fans. Thankfully, the woman was a good sport about it and accepted the gift, and Riddle called it the worst time he's ever kicked his flip-flops off. This all happened during Riddle's time in NXT, so it must have been between 2018 and 2020, and while fans may be disappointed that he's been pulled from SummerSlam due to his injury, those glasses-wearing members of the WWE Universe will breathe a heavy sigh of relief. With Vince McMahon now retired, many in WWE are optimistic that there will be a change and that things will get better for everyone involved. Several superstars are reportedly very excited to have Triple H running creative, believing that they'll have a better shot at being listened to with the game now also head of talent relations. Not everyone is expecting change though, as on the Absolute Geek podcast, CM Punk cast his doubts on things getting better in WWE. You think because he tweeted that I'm retired that he's not going to be hands-on? I don't think the structure there, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think the culture there changes at all. It is what it is. CM Punk isn't the only one who thinks Vince McMahon will remain hands-on even after retirement, as Vince Russo has said that people are clueless for thinking McMahon is really gone. It's worth noting that neither Punk nor Russo has worked for WWE in a very long time, and that a lot has changed since either person stepped foot in a WWE-ran venue, but we'll have to see whether things actually change now with McMahon's supposed retirement. CM Punk may not believe McMahon is gone as it is claimed, but countless people believe Vince is gone, and that Triple H now has control over both creative and talent relations. Under Vince McMahon's tenure as head of WWE, nobody ever expected AEW and WWE to work together, but there are some people who are more hopeful with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in positions of power. Speaking to Steve Fall of NBC Sports Boston, Tony Khan spoke about whether a possible crossover event could now happen, but isn't confident. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I would certainly be open to talk with pretty much any wrestling promotion in the world about how to work together if the circumstances are right. We've worked with, I would say, in terms of securing footage or providing talent, with probably a dozen companies around the world, including Ring of Honor before I was the owner, when they were owned by Sinclair. I'd like to think that was positively received by them, and we did things to help them out when they were in tough times, and I think that goodwill helped us in the sale process. While there have been some AEW-WWE crossovers, with multiple stars appearing on Raw last month via video to praise John Cena, it seems an actual crossover show is a long way away, even with the new management. We've got some WrestleMania news now. As well, the 39th annual event won't take place until April of next year. We've got some huge news regarding 2024. WrestleMania 40 will be a huge event for WWE, and it's coming to none other than the City of Brotherly Love. In a press release, WWE confirmed that the 2024 event will be coming to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with Philly Mayor Jim Kenney promising an exciting week. We're proud to welcome WWE fans from around the world to be a part of the historic 40th WrestleMania in 2024. The week-long series of events will help put a global spotlight on our great city, while also generating a major impact for our local economy. The show will take place from the Lincoln Financial Field, home of NFL's Philadelphia Eagles, and will again be over 2 days, airing on April 6th and April 7th. WrestleMania 40 will be the second time the show has come to Philadelphia, after hosting the event in 1999, and after a quarter of a century, WWE's Showcase of the Immortals is coming back to Philly. And we're ending with more from Vince McMahon as his retirement brings an end to the 4-decade career of the former CEO of the company. McMahon notoriously worked endlessly throughout his time running the promotion, with multiple stories of him calling up talent in the middle of the night to discuss ideas. One superstar who did especially well in the McMahon era was Becky Lynch, who this week recalled giving the billionaire advice during an appearance on Adam's Apple. I sat down with him and asked, "Hey Vince, do you ever take time off?" He said, "Well, one time I took a holiday and I was lying on the beach. I couldn't relax. Then I came back and I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a big event. It's going to be like the Super Bowl and we're going to call it WrestleMania." Whether McMahon likes it or not, he will now have to find something to do during retirement, as with the scandals against him, he'll never be back in a position of power as part of the company he founded. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.